and our Cape Verdean community to know that Commissioner Grosh and I share the sense of grief that surrounds this tragedy. Jassy was not in the wrong place at the right time. She was right where every woman has every right to be, celebrating her birthday on a night out with friends. Let's not fall into a discussion about whether we should walk home alone or how many people we should call when we're leaving the club. If anything, let's remind the men in our lives that violence against women isn't a woman's issue. It's a problem that men take responsibility for in their lives, in their sons' lives, and in the social lives with friends and colleagues. This white pin I'm wearing recognizes men taking that responsibility, and I want to commend all the men in my office and the Boston Police Department who are wearing it. I've been in almost constant contact with Commissioner Gross and United States Attorney Lelling. All of us are being briefed regularly by the teams we've assigned to Jassy's kidnapping and apparent homicide. And it's not just us individually on the phone. My top legal staff, Boston police detectives, law enforcement in Rhode Island and Delaware, and federal and state prosecutors are all in contact with each other, sharing information, expertise, and resources. Even now, my chief homicide prosecutor is at Boston Police Department headquarters going over the evidence with detectives. And he's been on the phone through the day and yesterday and today with his counterparts at the Attorney General's office in Delaware and Rhode Island. Boston police have been in contact with police in Providence and Wilmington. This is a very complicated and complex case with evidence in 3 different jurisdictions. There are moving parts in all of them. To protect the integrity of the evidence we've gathered, there are many aspects of it which we simply cannot discuss today. But the city, state, and federal collaboration here has been seamless. Jassy's body is with the Delaware Medical Examiner's Office right now, and the suspect in her death is being held on a fugitive warrant out of Rhode Island. Whatever this case is ultimately charged, wherever it's charged and tried, will be based on the evidence and the law. We're following that wherever it takes us. But let me be clear. We agree that if possible, this case belongs here in Boston, either in Suffolk County or in the U.S. District Courts of Massachusetts. Jassy was and is a part of our community. Her family is a part of our community. And her community deserves the chance to see justice done in this city. But right now, for the people who love Jassy most and for the entire Suffolk County community, this isn't about jurisdiction. This is about a daughter. This is about a mother whose 2-year-old daughter doesn't understand where she's gone and will no longer have a mother. It's about devastating loss for generations of family members who lost a central part of their lives. My heart and my promise of every possible support and getting them the answers they deserve and holding whoever did this to Jassy accountable is with them today. You will now hear from Commissioner Gross.
Thank you, District Attorney Rollins. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Good afternoon. Let me begin by sending our most sincere condolences to Jassy, to our family. No family deserves this. As the DA alluded to, women should be able to traverse anywhere they want in the city without worry of being harmed. This is a tragedy not only for the family, but for our community as well in our city. Boston is much better than this. And these types of actions will not be tolerated. As you've heard, this is a collaborative investigation, multi-jurisdictional and multi-agencies. The investigation began in Boston. The evidence led us to Rhode Island, and an arrest was effected in Delaware. We just want the family to know, the city to know, that we are working together seamlessly, and that the Boston Police Department, our Bureau of Investigative Service under Superintendent Paul Donovan, our homicide unit, our district detectives, our senior investigators in the homicide unit are working diligently with not only Rhode Island, its Chief Clements, as well as the Attorney General there, and in Delaware. So wherever this investigation has led, the district attorney and Boston Police have been there every step of the way. And you're right, district attorney. This is someone from our neighborhood, from our city. We've had tragedies in the past, but we just want the folks of ill intent to know that this just won't be tolerated in this city. And look at the team that you have before you that will work together to bring justice to Jassy and her family. Mayor Walsh and district attorney and myself went to visit the family today, and I'm telling you right now, it's just such a beautiful family. They don't deserve this. Mayor Walsh is highly upset. We're all highly upset that this could have even have happened. But right now, all of us working together should respect the family and should help them in their time of tragedy right now. The mayor's trauma team is available for the family. I have a Cabo Verde liaison, Katia Xavier, who's working with the family. And again, what we're here to do right now is to work together collaboratively, our law enforcement entities, to bring justice and to ensure the family that we will not give up. We will never give up. And as the DA alluded to, we are not trying to be evasive in any of the questions that we're asked, but we must maintain the integrity of this case. Mr. Coleman will be afforded due process, and that comes along with attorneys. We must say nothing to jeopardize the integrity of this investigation or make it seem that someone's being prejudged where it would be deemed as prejudicial against them. So again, if you have questions, and we say that it's a part of the investigation, we're not trying to be evasive at all, but we are protecting the integrity of the investigation because we want justice for Jassy. That being said, I can't thank you enough, DA, U.S. Attorney Andrew Yelling, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how the FBI has also stepped up in an overwhelming way with Senior Agent in Charge, Joseph Bonavolanta. Folks, I haven't seen teamwork like this in a long time. We're on the right track here. And we're going to, again, not to be repetitive, but we're very passionate about this. We are going to bust our butts to make sure that justice is served here. Again, thank you for your patience. And I would ask you too, I know several of you know where the family, they live. They're asking for a little peace and quiet as they mourn Jassy. So could we just have a little respect for the family out there? They're going through a lot. And I know you'll do that. I know you'll do that. So thank you. Yeah.
So we can try to answer questions if people have them, and if we're permitted to. The last thing I will simply add is that we have promised the family they will not hear anything in the news prior to us telling them. So we are limited in what we can say, but we will try to take questions if people have them.
Well, I got an easy one for you because the chief was talking about teamwork, about everybody busting their butt, and you both talked about the multi-jurisdictional aspect of different states, different agencies. And I just want to ask you, given the facts of these cases, of this case, and I'm not asking you to speak to the facts, it's got to be easy to motivate the individual investigators and agencies. Talk about the motivation to reach justice from all these agencies.
For sure. I will tell you that I've only been in this job since January 2nd, but I had the pleasure of being an assistant United States attorney, so I've worked with the FBI before and know fully what that office does. I have spoken to U.S. Attorney Lelling at least 10 times in the last 24 hours or so. The commissioner and I have spoken even more than that. We are getting constant updates from the FBI. Unlike Massachusetts, where we have a district attorney, Rhode Island and Delaware both have attorney generals that handle. The attorney generals are involved, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Rhode Island. People are working round the clock to try to get answers to this family. And so I am so proud of how seriously people are taking this. And I just think it speaks to how important this case is to us. And it's incredibly sad because Boston has seen now 2 situations similar to each other. We had luckily we found the first individual alive. Unfortunately, we didn't this time, but we're working tirelessly, and I'm really proud of the men and women that are doing that every day.
And I'd like to add the motivation piece. Again, let's talk about empathy.
Could you step up to the podium?
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
No problem. Love your hat. We all have nieces, daughters, friends. That empathy is there. That's the motivation right now. That, you know, there's predators out there and they prey on our loved ones. So our motivation is to send a clear message as well that's not going to be tolerated. If you do something, you will be brought to justice. So the motivation is because of the empathy factor.
And everybody's feeling it. That's why everybody's fighting.
We are.
Do you expect charges out of Suffolk County?
Excuse me?
Do you expect charges out of Suffolk County?
We are going to see where the evidence leads us, but as we know, ma'am, this started in Suffolk County. Not only is she from here, but Venue Nightclub is here, which is where we believe, or the evidence is showing us that this may have started. So if the evidence brings us there, yes, you bet we will be bringing charges in Suffolk County. And Suffolk County, I'm speaking as the district attorney. The U.S. attorney could possibly bring charges as well. If it were a federal charge that could be brought. So there are lots of different things on the table right now. But if the evidence brings us there, 100% we are going to bring charges. And this is what we do. We have some of the best homicide prosecutors, not only in the state, but in the country, in Ed Zabin and others in that unit. So absolutely.
What kind of charges could he face here? If he's already been charged, he's facing this kidnapping charge and the mutilation of the body out of Rhode Island.
So there are circumstances, ma'am, where people can be charged with different things in different jurisdictions. We would never cede our power to some other jurisdiction if we believed a crime happened here, and certainly a kidnapping or a homicide. So we are still looking at what the evidence will show us with respect to what we'll charge. But whatever we do, this is not a jurisdictional grab. We will be in constant contact with not only our federal counterparts in U.S. Attorney Lelling, but also in Rhode Island, or possibly in Delaware if there as well.
You had mentioned you wanted to see where the evidence takes you as far as if the case is tried at state level or federal level. Would the pursuit of capital punishment play a factor into it being tried at the federal level?
I will leave that, sir, to U.S. Attorney Lelling to answer. But as you've seen in certain federal charges that were brought in other circumstances, for example, Gary Sampson or other matters there, depending on what the federal government, if they chose to charge, some of those charges do bring a death penalty. You know, obviously in Massachusetts we do not have the death penalty, so if there was a state charge, there could be a difference there. But I will leave that to U.S. Attorney Lelling to answer any questions, and he is not here right now.
Will he be brought back here to Massachusetts anytime soon to face charges?
Again, we're going to follow the evidence. As we before stated, it's a very complex investigation. We're moving methodically, and that is for a purpose. Again, to make sure that we bring justice to Jassy and our family. So we'll see where the evidence leads us. If it leads us back here to Suffolk County, so be it. We're ready to go on that. And wherever justice may land and the prosecution lands, we'll be there, all of us working collaboratively.
And Commissioner, this is 2 women now who have been
Yes.
taken in 2 months, downtown Boston, highly populated areas, leaving the bars at night. What kind of message are you sending to the people of your city that this is not acceptable?
Well, the first message I want to send, and this is a strong message, we are not going to play the blame game to family or friends in both of these incidents. What we want people to be aware of is just be aware of your surroundings and what type of people are out there, and which would lead you to be aware of your surroundings. And that's pretty much it.
Are you changing any sort of protocol where you're going to be watching those areas? Like, is there anything that you're going to alter?
So of course we have increased patrol in the downtown area, and we'll be and we'll continue that and add additions. But again, we love everyone to be aware of their surroundings, and there's an educational component too that You know, when we have tragedies, there's lessons learned from that. Don't even need to be mentioned. We know what they are, to protect our loved ones. So, but we are definitely not going to play a blame game and blame victims of these heinous crimes.
Thanks, folks.
When did you increase patrol, and can you talk about how by how much?
No, because bad guys are watching. We need to know if patrols have been increased. Just extra coverage. Talk to Captain Fawn. And trust me, folks, we're not just talking about police. This is community policing. We take care of our own, right? So when we say extra coverage, not only additional police coverage, but the educational component includes the